Every era tells itself in stories, and sometimes fiction sketches the mechanics of power more clearly than politics. Rowling's Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix is one such map. It charts how an anxious authority, terrified of losing control, reshapes institutions until paranoia becomes prophecy. Authoritarian stories begin with denial. When Voldemort returned, Cornelius Fudge's ministry refused to admit it. Denial was paired with smear. The Daily Prophet branded truth-tellers as hysterical, and Harry Potter was dragged before the full Wizengamot in a show trial designed not to seek justice, but to discredit him. At the Department of Justice, February 2025 brought its own version. The president ordered the dismissal of every Biden-era United States attorney, while attrition hollowed civil rights and federal programs. Independence was recast as partisanship, judgment as betrayal. Narrative came first, evidence second. From denial flowed decrees. At Hogwarts, Dolores Umbridge ruled by educational decrees, inspections, bans, the inquisitorial squad, paperwork and procedure masking repression. At Justice, decrees came in the form of guidance, a weaponization working group to retroactively police loyalty, corporate enforcement policies that centralized discretion in Washington, and exile units like Sanctuary Cities Enforcement. The mechanics were the same, rules as camouflage for control. When rules could not cow the independent, spectacle did. The ministry made examples of its targets. Harry's disciplinary hearing, Trelawney expelled in the courtyard, Hagrid hauled off in the night. DOJ followed with its own theatre. The United States Office of Special Counsel opened a public Hatch Act probe into Jack Smith. The FBI raided John Bolton's home and office, seizing documents but filing no charges. Affidavits were unsealed, dramatic but inconclusive. The aim was humiliation, not law. To sustain control, voices themselves had to be throttled. Voldemort's ministry captured the Daily Prophet, banned the Quibbler, and outlawed student groups. In September 2025, the echoes in Washington were unmistakable. Attorney General Bondi floated hate speech prosecutions. The president declared Antifa a terrorist organization. A memorandum branded non-profits and donors as agitators. Jimmy Kimmel's show was suspended. Stations pressured not to air his monologues. Speech itself had become suspect. Institutions were left standing, but gutted. Voldemort kept the ministry's marble facades, but purged its auras, cowed its Wizengamot, and installed a puppet minister. DOJ mirrored this hollowing. Inspectors general were purged. Firings later ruled unlawful, but not restored. By midsummer, 2/3 of the federal programs branch had gone, and the Civil Rights Division had lost 70% of its attorneys. The shell remained. Lecterns, seals, press conferences. The substance was drained away. From such repression came the phantom. At Hogwarts, bans and raids produced Dumbledore's army, a secret fellowship that existed only because authority insisted it must. At Justice, resignations, rulings, and whistleblower disclosures were cast as treachery. Forced underground, resistance migrated to encrypted threads, Senate drop boxes, classrooms, and bar panels. To power, these were signs of conspiracy. In truth, they were the inevitable byproduct of criminalizing independence. And then came the naming of the commander. In Rowling's world, it was the moment Dumbledore himself was accused of organizing rebellion. In Washington, September 25 delivered its parallel. James Comey was indicted. Hours later, the president promised, "There will be others." The phantom enemy had acquired its general. The imagined deep state now stood in flesh as Comey's army, not because it existed all along, but because repression demanded it. So what would a Voldemort presidency look like? Like this.